All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lena just wants to talk about a bad date that a really pretty woman had on TikTok. So she was talking about her bad date, and it sounded awful. So this guy and this girl were going on a date. They met on Tinder, I believe, or something, and they were going on a date, and they were like really, getting along really well, talking it up, living it up, having a fun time. The restaurant wasn't too expensive, and this girl, like this is the girl's channel. Okay, so she's talking about her date, and this girl is very much like equal opportunity. She doesn't like to have the guy pay because she wants to have more. Like she'll do split, or she'll pay uh, for her own. She'll usually pay for her own meal, but she said she'll pay for their meal too. But she just doesn't like to have them pay for the meal just because she doesn't want to be in a bind in case it's a bad date or whatever. So she usually likes to pay herself for her own portion or pay the whole thing. So she's talking to this guy, and she's like, he's like saying he's offering to pay, and she's like, well, I really have strong feelings about the man paying. I really don't want to have him pay just because, I don't want. She had a reason. I'm not sure if she expressed them to him, but she just had a reason. So he's like, tell you what, we'll go on a second date, and I'll pay this time, and you can go ahead and pay the next one. And then so she's like, okay, that sounds fair. She's really excited because she got a second date, and she's looking forward to the second date. And she's like, okay, that makes sense. And she's like, I mean, she's like, well, and normally she wouldn't do that, but the second date and they got along so well, she's liking the guy, so she's like, let's do this. So she pays, and it's 50, or he pays, and it's $50 or $60 for the meal. So then on the second date, they go to a place where it's like kart racing. I think it was kart racing or golf or something. And for every hour you're there, it's I think $50 or something. And for every meal and drink or whatever you get, it's like $11. So they got appetizers, so every appetizer is $11. Every drink is roughly $11. So at the end of the night comes, and they're there for 3 hours, so it's $150 plus the appetizer. They decided to get appetizers. She was like, okay, I'm okay with that. Their appetizers, even though they're $11 each, whatever. So he was like so going to pay the first time. So she thought he was just going to say something like, oh, well, maybe we can split this one or do whatever. But he literally just stood there and allowed her to pay it. I'm like, oh my God, and it cost $200 as opposed to $50, $60 that he paid for the first one, right? So you're like thinking to yourself, like, who does that really? But anyway, he did that, and she's like, okay, she's just like, she was expecting him to intervene and say, oh, I'll pay again, or something like, we can split it this time because it's a bit pricey. But he didn't say anything at all, and so she's like stuck with the bill, and she pays it, and she's like, okay. So, there are horrible dates, and you're just like, oh my God, like how can that be? And she's such a sweet girl, and she looks really good too. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye now. Bye everyone.